offered props that you're going to be able to use as well. So let your hands, wherever you are seated, to rest on your knees, your shins, or even so. And I want you to soften through your shoulders. Let your eyes be forward. So don't look at the camera here. Let the eyes be forward. And I want you to turn your head in one direction. Now, as you turn your head in one direction, allow yourself to feel if you're holding any tension in your neck or in your jaw. And if you are, just acknowledge it, and we'll talk about it in a minute. And now let's turn your head in the other direction. And again, acknowledge if you've got any tension or resistance that you're holding there. So now bring it back, or it could even be radiating down into your upper back, depending on where you hold your tension. Now from here, I want you to let your eyes, your head is going to stay neutral, but your eyes are going to look to the right. You're going to pause and you're going to wait, and we're not going to spend a long time here, but I want you to do this off camera as well. Pause, and I want you to you're going to do one of three things. Your eyes are going to stay hard right until you yawn, you swallow, or you sigh. And now bring your eyes back to center. Don't go to the other side yet. So what I want you to do is I want you to look around, maybe even let your eyes look around the room in front of you. But when you're ready, let your eyes drift in the opposite direction. And you might find that one side is easier and you can swallow easier on that side. Now bring it back to center. What you notice here, if you let your eyes drift either to the right or to the left, notice the difference as you turn, because that's going to release your vagus nerve. Believe it or not, that simple little exercise, pardon me, can release your vagus nerve to release some of the tension in your neck. And you can do this throughout the day. So noticing again, but that the eye movement can be really beneficial. Now from here, I'd like you to just tuck your fingers behind your knees, and we're going to start by just initiating that little, what I'm going to call the pelvic tilt. So you're just going to roll it back and then bring it forward. So I want you to think about, even as you're sitting in the chair, rolling that pelvis back and sitting on top of those sits bones. So if you're in the chair, your feet are going to be flat on the floor, just like we are when we're seated here. And take it back for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now as you're coming up, I want you to take your right hand to the outside of your left knee. Now bring your left hand behind you, even if you're sitting in the chair. And you're going to find a gentle spinal twist here. Come back to center. And now right hand to the left knee, or excuse me, left hand to the right knee. And that right hand is going to come behind you, sit nice and tall. So think about somebody pulling a string up through the top of your head as you're doing this. Bring it back to center. Now place your hands below your knees. And I want you to think about an avocado or a walnut or something that has a nut in the center, and it cracks open in the center. And we're going to roll it back, and I want you to roll from the inner thighs to the outer, so that nut's right in the center of us, and then bring it back up. So you might find that you're rolling back just a little bit deeper, but open your chest. And as you're doing this, if you can let your palms be up, it's going to facilitate an opening through your chest and that upper back. And again, let's take that back for 4, 3, 2, and 1. As you sit tall this time, you can keep your knees where they are. Maybe you'd like to extend them, but we're going to cross our arms now. So again, finding that bony landmark in your hips. From here, instead of rolling back, we're going to hinge back. Remember in the other videos where I've talked about an open, like a screen door, and you're just going to take it back and then bring it forward. So really think about the engagement between your back and your abdominal muscles to keep everything So it's nice and tight to support that lower back as you're hinging back. And keep going for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it all the way up. This time, allow your arms to come down beside you. We're going to find a little bit of spinal articulation here, means rotation. So you're just going to rotate to one side. Now, if you feel like you want to extend your arms, you can, but for the purposes of this video, I'm going to just keep them bent and then rotate in the other direction. Now, as you're doing this, what I don't want you to do is I want you to really be cognizant and intentional with your movements here. So you're slowing your body down. Bring it back to center, and again. And let's continue with 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now from here, I want you to let your palms of your hands face each other. Sit tall, and you're going to open those arms. So you're thinking about opening through your chest, but it's also engaging that upper back. And then bring the arms back to center. And open for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now hold them there. Now you're going to do little tiny presses, so it's small. Little presses here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower both hands down. Take one hand on the side. This is a version of what I'm going to call mermaid. And you're going to plant one hand on the floor, but your other arm is going to reach that arm up. And you want to find the length and extension. So as you're doing this, this is also very calming for your nervous system here. So if you're sitting in a chair and somebody's really, or you can feel your nervous system starting to heighten, meaning you're feeling a little agitated and maybe you don't want to go there. So do a little bit of side bending, and let's do one more. Now from here, release that hand down. Your opposite hand I want you to bring behind your head. And we're going to find a little bit more rotation, and you'll see where we're going with this class. So it's more about rotation today. So your elbow, I want you to think about it coming in alignment with your thigh. You're not lifting anything. And then opening that chest up here. And again, bring it forward and then open for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let your hand release, palm up this time, and take it over for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it all the way up. Now fingertips come behind your head, and now you're going to rotate to the other side, and then open here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring both arms down. Now I'd like you to grab either your small towel or your ball. And we're going to place the ball or the towel between our hands. And what I'd like you to do, and I'm going to show you with both of these. So right now, I just have the ball between my hands. I'm not pressing, I'm not doing, so it's more like a spacer between your hands. So I'm going to demonstrate with both the ball and with the towel. So I want you to think about your elbows are wide here. And as you press the ball away from you, you're going to squeeze the palms in. So you're activating the upper traps and probably even into your chest. And then you're going to release as you bring the ball back in towards you. I'm going to turn and face the camera. So I want you to think about loose hands here. Press it out. And now when you come in, you're going to release the tension. So keep going. Now with the towel, it's the same thing. You're going to press the palms in as you take it out, and then release as you draw them back in. And again, continue. And let's take it out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Now from here, take that same towel and I want you to roll it a little bit thicker this time. So now you're going to have it, I rolled it in thirds. From here, I want you to think about keeping your elbows wide, just like we did before, but then now your arms are going to go, and again, you're going to work within your range of motion for your shoulders. So you're going to take it up and then bring it down. You're not squeezing, you're only using the towel there as placement this time. So press it up overhead and then back down. Keep going. And you might even, this might be as far as you can go, and that's perfectly fine. But the bottom line is that you're working into your shoulders. And let's continue for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, from here, notice that my elbows are not out to the sides. I want you to think about drawing them in towards your head, and you're just going to lift that towel up and then drop them down. 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I do want to say for this arm section, if you have hand weights and you want to use them, you can, but I did it with the towel because I want people to begin to think about using your own body resistance is a lot. Now from here, you're going to still keep your arms, but now this time you're going to roll back, but I want you to add a rotation. Notice that bottom elbow is not touching the floor, and then bring it up. And then we're going to rotate the other direction. And continue. And for 8. So what I don't want to see is this. I want you to come up, you're pausing in the center, and you're bringing it back to center. And again, so you're really initiating as you roll back with rotation, and it feels different, especially if your body's not used to doing it. Let's continue with 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now take the towel and you're going to place it. So I want you to pad, so you're going to bring it between your thighs. So I still have it rolled in thirds, and you're going to bring it like right above, so my knees are here, and the towel's just a little bit beyond that. So have the bigger towel available, because we'll use that in a minute. Now, from here, I want you to sit tall. I want you to think about staying upright as we do these. And eventually we're going to come down onto our backs with it. But I want you to stay upright. So if you're in the chair, you're going to do the same thing. Feet are going to be on the floor, but your hands can either be on the sides here. If you feel like you're going to collapse from being on the mat, you can come back to your forearms. But your legs are going to be very active here. And you're going to squeeze that towel and then release. And squeeze and release for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now from here, you're going to sit up tall, readjust yourself. Now we're going to do single leg. So you're going to I'm going to squeeze with my left leg first because I'm closest to the camera, which means that my right leg is going to stabilize as you pull that leg in, and you're working only that left thigh. 4, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you're finding these too difficult, either take the towel out, pause, or don't do it as many. So again, so now find your pelvic tilt here slightly, And you're gonna take, and now you're gonna squeeze that right inner thigh. So stabilizing on the left side, and squeeze and release. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. From here, come down onto your back. Have the towel rolled into thirds like I showed you before. So we're going to start all the way down on our back. And I want you to think about release. I move the towel because I want you to see. I want you to think about your shoulders and your upper back feeling really grounded here before you move into any other work. Now, from here, we're going to lift both legs. So if you're sitting in the chair, scoot yourself way back and lift your legs out in front of you, but with your knees bent. Now, this is going to feel like we just did this whole squeeze and release from the floor, but we're going to repeat it. So now you're going to squeeze and release. And you might feel this in a whole nother section of muscles that you're not used to feeling here. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now lower your feet to the mat. And I want you to take the towel that was between your legs and just place it on the floor. From here, I want you to think about, you're going to lift your legs, excuse me, not lift, you're going to glide your legs to one side. Bring it back to center, and then you're going to glide your legs in the other direction. And then bring them back. And keep going. 4, 6. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now open your legs up, but you're going to turn your toes outward. So my toes are external. So when I mean that, I mean you're going to keep your legs parallel, but your toes, so you're going to rotate your feet outward. So they're in what's called the external rotation here. From here, I want you to let your knees drop in. So your legs are going inward and then opening outward. So my legs drop in and then take them out. I'm going to turn so you can see where I'm going with this. So my feet are turned out, and you're going to turn your knees in and then take them out. So it's not a big movement here. And then continue. 4, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, from here, we're going to lift ourselves. So bring your feet back to parallel, and you're going to lift your hips up. But I want you to take that towel, and you're going to lay it under the small of your back to support it. Now, if you're in the chair, you might not find, you're going to probably have to work with me here. So you're going to lift your feet. Your feet are still grounded on the mat here. But now we're going to take your leg, and you're going to take it into a tabletop position. So your knee and your hip are in alignment. Point your toe, and you're just going to press it out and draw it in. Now for some of you, that leg might not be as high as mine, and that's perfectly fine. And I'm going to say this. Work within your range of motion. Please don't feel judgment towards your own body, because you've made an effort to come and do this today. Just enjoy where you are, that you can move your body. And it might be a little, I don't want this to be too hard for you, but I also want it to be enough where you're going to come back. Now let's lower that foot to the mat. Let's take your other leg, and you might notice too the difference here from side to side. Point your toe, take it out and in. So remember, and you might even lift it higher on one side than you do on the other, and that's perfectly fine. One more time. Now, from here, bring them both in. And again, if you're seated in the chair, both feet are going to be lifted up, but this time you're going to open and then bring them in. So I'm opening, like a clam shell, and then closing it back up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now this next exercise, I'm going to give you some options because everybody's body is going to be a little different. So the first one is we're going to go into hip circles. So you're going to keep your knee bent for this first one, and you're going to take it down, out, and around. So as you're doing this, you're making a circle through your hip joint. Now, if you want to take it to the next level, you can take full leg, and you're going to take it out, down, so it's hovering on the floor, your toe is pointed. Bring it out to the side and then all the way up. Now, let's continue with whatever variation you're doing here, and let's continue with 4, 3. Notice that I'm not moving really aggressively here. 2, and 1, and lower that foot back to the mat. And what I'd like you to do here, just let your feet be on the mat. This time you're going to roll your chin to your chest, let your eyes look towards your knees here, and then roll back down. So the only thing that's lifting is your head. You're not lifting your shoulders, you're not lifting your hands, you're just nodding your chin into your chest and back down. Continue for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now pick up the other leg. Start with your toe pointed and press it out and in for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keeping it either bent or extended. We're going to go into the leg circles here. So you're going to open it, and when you're doing it, so if your hips are what I'm going to call tweaky, you're just going to make this motion smaller. Now, if you're joining me with the open leg or extended leg, and let's continue for either variation here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. For this next one, lift both legs toward the ceiling. Now, if this is your legs that are extended, then this is what your legs are going to be like. Or maybe you can extend your legs, but I want you to think about having a soft bend in your knees. Take your feet and connect. So if you're sitting in a chair, you're just going to lift them so they're level with your hips. And now connect your heels, and you're going to lower them down. Now, I want to just make sure that this is really precautionary, so you're not going to lower your legs if you have lower back pain. So what I want you to do is I want you to just lower and lift just a little. If you still have pain, put your feet on the floor. Don't do this exercise. And lower for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, lower your feet to the floor. Keep the towel where you have it so it's padded under your lower back still. And I want you to bring one foot on the mat. The other one is going to come into tabletop position here. And now you're going to flex your foot. So before we did it with pointed, now we're going to do it with flexing. You're going to like you're pushing something away, like you're pushing on the brake of a car and somebody's pulled out in front of you. So press for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your foot down. Let's go to the other side. So flex your foot and press it out and in for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, from here, both feet. So now you're going to come off of the towel and you're gonna place it on the floor beside you, and I want you to sit tall. And as you sit tall, there's a classic exercise in Pilates, and it's called teaser. And I have not done a whole lot of introduction with this, but today we're gonna play with it just a little bit. So again, it's not an exercise that I'm gonna work it in stages. I do not expect you're gonna stay with wherever you are. So the first section of it, we're gonna start with our fingertips behind our knees. And you're gonna roll back into that pelvic tilt, but I want you to, can you lift one leg and then lower it down? So we're gonna alternate sides here. You're just picking up a leg and then lowering it down. Now, can you let your hands be free and lift one leg up? So if you practice yoga, this would be like a variation of maybe a boat pose. Now, from here, can you roll back, pause, lift one leg, and then your other leg, and then lower them down. So the next variation I'm going to show you is a full teaser, and you're going to lift your legs, and then extend, and then reach and lift. Look towards your toes, and then lower them down. Sit nice and tall on your sit bones, and I want you to sit with your ankles crossed, or like even just sitting upright. Bringing your hands to rest on your knees once again. And I want you to think about those palms resting on your knees. We're going to go into some abdominal circling here. So just circle it around. And as you're circling, your motions can be as big or as small, or maybe none at all. So let's, whatever motion you're doing there, I want you to just take it around one more time. And now pause and then reverse it. And as we circle, and even with all of these other exercises, I want to just say that it's really important that we listen to our bodies. And oftentimes, and I'm just going to say this, and this is how I approach teaching, is that we have to be respectful of our bodies. And every single day, our bodies are changing from how much water we've had to drink, what kind of foods we've eaten. There's lots and lots of things that come into play with movement in our bodies. Now, take your left hand to your right knee. Take that right hand and place it on the floor somewhere behind you. And notice where I didn't tell you to place it. Again, listen to what your shoulders are doing here. Bring it back to center. And let's go to the other side. Come back to center. Now, extend your legs all the way out. Flexing your feet, maybe. But I want you to let both hands come to the tops of your thighs. And just, whether you're seated in a chair or on the floor, just allow yourself to come forward. Dropping the crown of your head toward the floor. Now as you inhale and come up, nod your chin to your chest, maybe closing your eyes. Now as you lift your chin up, let you think about releasing the whole front of your neck here. Bring it back down.